Hey everybody, in this LEGO City update, I'm going to continue developing the countryside, specifically these two large plates. There's a total of 8 base plates in these modules, 2 by 2 right there. So that is 64 studs by 64 studs. And this one here is 64 by 64 studs as well. Actually, I guess I'm going to have to make it another plate because I want to continue this gravel road. I want to get this creek flowing in through here with some nice depth. And it looks like in order to fully develop this area with the continuation of this gravel road, I'll also have to include this 48 by 48 base plate because that's going to allow the road to flow through this area and head toward the tunnel, which is going to be right there. I'm sure you've heard me say it before, my goal with the countryside is to add a lot of depth, and I want to do that right in the middle. So that's going to allow us to add depth to the creek bed, to the roads, and just have depth in the countryside in general. So you can see I'm building this up quite a bit, and I'm using 1 by 2 bricks around the perimeter, doing a solid green face on it because that's going to be exposed off the table there, and then I'm doing 2 by 2 bricks in the center, and it uses a ton of those pieces because I'm going to build this using 4 by 4 green plate. Specifically this one here, I don't want to build it just as like a flat surface. That's why I'm not using the 16 by 16s. What I'm doing is I'm actually reducing the amount of bricks as you move, or as I move inward, so that we can actually get a tapered effect. So I'm actually creating a gradient that's going down as you approach the center of the plate. I just think that's going to be a better look for the countryside in this region than making it just flat. And I just think it's pretty cool. And that's the point of doing the depth with the brick rather than using a wood platform, is now we can add really cool depth like this. It is rather difficult trying to get the math right and just like the brick alignment of all the underlying brick, messing around with like 1 by 1 bricks, 1 by 2 bricks, also the corner bricks, to try and just get that green 4 by 4 plate supported up top there and make it so we can actually have some nice depth here in the countryside. I really like the way that it's looking so far. Obviously, you can see a lot of color still. I plan on blending that in with other earthy colors like the greens and browns and tans and stuff like that. I don't really know what I'm going to put in this hole here, but I guess that's going to be decided in the future. I just want to try and get the base construction of this area developed, and included in that is also the gravel road in this area as well, which is actually 2 plates lower than the surrounding plate for the most part. So yeah, I'm going to be blending in this color and I'm going to be rounding it out because it looks very squarish or Minecraftish right now. But you can see I made it an interesting shape, so it's going to allow me to put the slopes and everything in there to try and make this hole look a little more natural. We can also mix in like rocks. You can see some of it actually goes up like 4 bricks. Some of it is only 1 brick, so we can put like rock faces in there and just something different in this forested area. There's also the gravel road there, which is quite wide because it's going to be taking that corner quite nicely and then heading toward that tunnel. And there's still a lot of blending work that has to happen in here, but I want to move on to the other 8 plates as well, just so we can start to visualize what this area is going to look like. I don't know why, but for some reason I want to bring this mills work up to 10 bricks. That is so aggressive. Like, it just takes so many pieces for the underlying brick, making those towers of 1 by 2s and 2 by 2s. It's like, oh my gosh. They've got to be closely grouped together because I'm using the 4 by 4 plate. So I start building it using the 4 by 4 plate. I just see how many parts it's consuming, and I'm just like blowing away, even though I know it's going to consume that many parts. But I probably am going to have to shift gears and come up with something new. So I whip out some IKEA boxes. Maybe I need to mills plate the entire plate like it was originally, place an IKEA box, lock in the IKEA box, and use that as the surface. Maybe I need to use the 16 by 16 Technic panels like I do with my mountains. Or maybe what I need to do is get away from using the 4 by 4 plate and continue using the 16 by 16 plates. The 16 by 16s are nice, but I feel like there's more play with the 4 by 4 because you can remove a plate there, or you can make a plate over here higher by 1 or 2 or 3 bricks, whereas you don't have that flexibility with the 16 by 16s. However, you can always build on top of these plates as well, so I can always build up on top of these plates to get different grades and different levels using various 2 by bricks as well. So in the end, I decided to go with the 16 by 16s because the underlying brick or the supporting brick, like you don't have to use nearly as many of them. I know I have a lot of parts right now, but if I build the entire countryside with 4x4 plates, oh my gosh, I will not have nearly enough parts. So I may as well just do it with the 16 by 16 plates. So I took care of the far side first, and that's where the gravel road is going to connect. And then you can see I've carved out 16 studs in an interesting shape throughout the center, and that's where the creek is going to go. And now I just need to finish elevating those 16 by 16 plates on the right side there. So once again, just using 1x2 and 2x2 bricks, and then I actually start putting some inverted slopes on the top of my stacks as well, and those just help further support these 16 by 16 plates. So there's going to be a creek or a river running through there, a lot of nice depth. There's going to be a bridge going over top, which is super neat. So this is just the base construction. Some of these 16 by 16 plates will most likely have to be swapped up with multiple 4x4 plates, just because those are going to give us more flexibility in the corners of the riverbank, for example. Building away here. Look who came to work with us today. It's the office dog. Hey, Stella? Yeah. Stella and Jose took off for the day. We didn't get to the studio till mid-afternoon, and the reason Stella was here is because we actually took her to that vet appointment that I was talking about just a couple days ago on that other video. And everything's A-okay. We upped her medication, and she's going to be all right. Just wanted to let you know that. So pretty happy with the outcome of that. I'm pretty happy with the outcome of this so far as well. I'm going to have to fix up this road here. As you can see, it goes up quite a bit. But I've been experimenting with grades, and I did it this way over here, and I want to do it the ramp style, or maybe like the modified Technic plate style, where it actually like hinges downward and is locked in position. That might be pretty cool. So I'll probably have to modify these 16 by 16 plates, pull these out, lower some of those bricks there, and get that road ramping up toward a bridge, which will go over top of this water. I think that would be pretty neat. I didn't really have an idea as to what I wanted to put down there, but I thought it would be pretty neat just to have some nice elevation. I decided not to border everything with green brick just because that would consume so many green bricks, and I figured maybe I'll come in here with like some dark bluish gray slopes and dark bluish gray bricks and texture that with different colors. So I think a lot of the green brick that I would do around the border would become a waste, or become wasted if I decide to do that. Now this is a really nice deep cutout here for the river, but you can see some of the angles are pretty harsh, and I've got to come up so many bricks. So even if I put the river at 6 bricks, which isn't very wide for a river, even 8 bricks, or 8 studs, sorry, I only have like 2 or 3 or 4 studs to work with to try and do the blending. So I might actually have to widen this. At first I thought 16 is probably good, but I might actually have to widen it. At least my pillars are made. That's the majority of the work, is just making all the pillars, putting the plate on and taking the plate off. Not very much work. So if I need to reduce this to 4 studs or 8 studs, I can go ahead and do that just so we can get more space to blend in the steep river bed, or what's it called, creek bed? Whatever it is, like a ravine going down into the creek, which is pretty sweet. I really want to work with that depth. I'm just like determined to make really cool depth scenes. And you know what? I am going to reduce this to probably 8 studs because it's going to allow us to widen that river. Rather than making it 4 or 6 studs, we can make it more like a river, maybe make it like 12 studs wide and have it meander through. So Jose was here today with Stella, and the reason she was here is because we started going through this collection in more depth. I unpackaged all of the instruction manuals and grouped them together by theme. All of the sets that you see up here have all been verified. We've got a spreadsheet going saying this set comes with all the minifigures, it's 99% complete, or it has this part missing, or whatever it is. So we're just working on verifying them. So we bring them up, we put them on the table there, we verify, we place the minifigures or group the minifigures with the set, and then we update the spreadsheet, and then we bring another set up here. So this is all the stuff that we managed to get done this afternoon. There's quite a few sets, so we tackled a big chunk of that. I feel like that was a pretty big success here today. And so is this as well. Pretty awesome. Reduced to 8 studs. Now that is a lot of pillars. But I think it was necessary because that's going to give us the room so that we can properly detail the bank leading down into the creek or river. I also placed some of the black plate in the open space there, and you can see it's pretty swervy, so I like that. It's got a nice shape to it, I think. And then I started working on the gravel road as well. So I just reduced the height of these. It took some trial and error because I wasn't sure how that was going to work. I was actually messing around with 4x4s in here, and then I realized, well, I can actually just use 16x16s. I wanted to do the ramp going up, but it's also going to be a natural gravel road. For now, it's going to look like a ramp, though, just because I don't have the texturing on the reddish brown plate. I was also thinking about this area here. Maybe you can have some vehicles pulled over, having a look at some wildlife in a forested area. That might be pretty cool. Common in like national parks, right? So I believe these plates here are actually going to tack these two together. So if I want to remove these plates when I'm in the city, I just have to release that one wedge plate right there. Don't have these in reddish brown, but I hope to get them soon. You can see that I put some inverted slopes on the stacks there because the stacks are actually supporting this plate, that plate. Then there's an inverted slope coming off and supporting just a 1x plate along with the tile. And then I did a reddish brown line underneath with the, or behind with the 1x8 bricks that stretch across the supports. And then I started coming up with this. I thought it would be cool to have this angle sort of continue on the steeper section of the road. That's why I put these wedge plates there, and that's why I put the wedge plates on the top of this build as well. Now I put the 2x green plate coming off the edge just because that's going to help me blend it in, and all of this stuff is going to have to be blent in. Don't worry, yellow, white, red, purple is not going to be found in my natural landscape. Just like every Lego build, they like to hide colors in it, and I'm hiding a lot of colors in this one here. But this pretty much wedges in here perfectly. You can see those wedge plates line up with the bottom, and then it also lines up with the top as well. And it just rests on that little ledge that I made there with the reddish brown tile. However, I think it's colliding right there, which is sort of an issue. In order to fix that, I can lower this one brick. Pretty easy change. Just change up these stacks here. So we've got 6 bricks and a 1x2 on top, 6 bricks, a corner brick, a 1x2, and that supports 3 different heights, and then 6, 1, 6, 1, and then over here it's actually 1x2s with a 1x1, and then when I put this on, we'll have the 3 different heights. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, need to put 2 more 1x2s right there. And now it'll support the 3 different heights, like that. So you got the nice tier there, and then we come down even more there. And that just sort of gives you a representation of what's going down in here. You can see it's like a 1x2, actually that's a corner brick, and a 1x1, and a 1x1, and a 1x2, and 2x2s underneath. So there's like all these weird combinations of pillars and stacks to try and get this look. And then the goal is just to wedge this angled road in there, something like that. And what I can do is come in here and fill in all of this space with green brick and slopes and all that different stuff. It's my first time like messing around with an angled gravel road. I like it. I think it needs some work, but I like it so far. I think I'm going to be able to get the job done there, and that's no problem. Just come in here, fill this all in with green and gray and brown and all that, and round out these corners and everything, and like have it bulge out here and round this all out with brick, and blend in all this with all green brick in there, and then texture these roads, just sort of make this look a little bit more natural. And I think the angled road would be pretty cool there. And then also it'll just continue straight here, and then there'll be some sort of bridge going over top of the water connecting to the other side, which I think is going to be super neat. That's awesome. I think I've never really built anything like this before, and it's off to a really good start. Obviously, it'd be a lot easier for me to just make this straight, and then I could very easily just blend in the sides just by building it up with brick and slopes and stuff. It'd be super easy. But I wanted to try and do an angle. I think that's a little more interesting, and I think it'll work out in the end. In regards to the blending of the riverbank, I'm thinking I'm going to do the classic slope technique in various colors, and also start messing around with the snot technique, because I think that's going to be pretty neat. Just use a snot brick, mount the plates upright, and put curved slopes and regular slopes on that, and create different types of vertical rock work. So yeah, it'll be fun to experiment with that in this area, and also all throughout the river and mountains. Just start doing that stuff, because I actually have the parts to do it now, because I ordered a bunch of those snot bricks to do that. So that is exciting stuff. So yeah, this river is going to flow through here, and then you can see I've turned it here, so maybe it'll turn back eventually. There's going to be some more water that's going to come down there, I believe, or maybe on the edge there, and connect to this water and flow off the table. And I've got to get this bridge built, get over there, and then start raising all of this up, build another bridge going over top of the train track, and then proceed underneath the tunnel. The supports on the legs, like the wooden legs there of that platform, might have to be increased in height, because maybe this tunnel is going to be elevated and built into the mountain there. Because if cars go over the train track, they can't really go down into the tunnel. I guess there could be just a downward slope into the tunnel, but it might be cool if that was raised up a little bit and then the tunnel was actually in the mountain a little bit higher up. So that might be pretty neat, but you can see the height difference. Like we've got the low ground over there, that's where Anakin is, and then we've got Obi-Wan up here. So yeah, not bad. I have to come in here and widen this creek. I've mentioned that before. I want to widen all of this here. Got the space to do it, and it needs to match this, and then it also needs to match the new creek that we're putting in there. And it looks like I've got to realign it here as well. We'll just move this over. Also, the A-frame cabin plate and these plates over here all have to be raised up as well, because this is already elevated, but the elevation is going to continue in this region. So I'm going to have to modify all these plates, connect the creek, widen the creek, raise up the A-frame, and figure out what I'm going to do in this area and raise all this up. Maybe some of it's going to be wood support. I don't know. It takes a lot of parts to do that with all brick, but it's definitely worth it when you can get that depth effect going there. I don't know. There's probably going to be a combination of wood, because maybe the A-frame doesn't need to be built up with bricks. Maybe I can use that same design, build a little wood platform for it, and raise it up so it matches. But that's just all contingent on what's going down when I'm working in these areas, I guess. Lots of work to do. This just takes time, because there's so many parts involved in getting that height and just the trial and error with everything. But once we nail down the exact know-how of what we're doing here, I can proceed that way and do these plates, and then start visualizing what the mountain is going to look like, and then finally start like doing the detail work. But I figured I should start with the base construction of it, just so I can lay out everything. Where's the creek going to go? Where's, you know, the road going to go? And then from there, start adding details. But there we go, another chunk done here in the city. Well, not done, but at least started. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on by. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Farewell.